We can't afford food, we can't afford gas, we can't afford housing. No one's coming to save us. When asked to what extent did he factor in financial situations of the American people, he said, not even a little bit. I don't think about Americans' financial situations. Rising gas prices, rising food costs, rising housing costs, and he doesn't care about our financial situations. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, this is bad. This is the biggest grift of all time, and we have been had.
So we in America can't even afford to live anymore. This 1976 cost of living, the average income was $16,000. A home was $43,000. New car, $5,000. Rent, $220 per month. Just look at these prices. So based on that, they're saying that the average income should be what, $84,000 now? So that means that with $240,000, I should be able to buy a new house. It's not possible. And also the average income is not $84,000. You know, most people are making way less than that. $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, but it's not $84,000. And based on this, I should be able to get a new car that's what? It says it would be like $5,000. So if my income is $80,000, a new car should be like $20,000, which most of the time they also are not. I mean, unless you're getting a value car. Also, if we're looking at this, your rent for the year should only be 15% of $6,000, which would be about $2,000 something dollars, which our rent is not 15% per year. It's like 30 or 40% per month. So yeah, something is definitely wrong. New car, nothing is adding up. So basically, we're not making enough to support what things cost, and it's a horrible thing.
You cannot retire in America on $1,500 a month. Nobody wants to hear that. But a lot of people really need to hear this. If you're 55 or 60, 65, even 45, and you're planning on retirement, and you're planning on living on $1,500 a month in the United States, you got a serious problem, brothers and sisters. Housing costs are up, food costs are up, insurance through the roof. Food is incredibly expensive. Just a couple years ago, for many of us, Social Security alone isn't gonna provide the retirement that you need, or even if you have Social Security. That doesn't mean your life is over though. You have options, meaningful options, but you got to start thinking differently. Maybe that means downsizing or moving to the cheapest county in Mississippi. I mean, that's an option. Maybe it means working part-time after you get your Social Security. Maybe it means considering another country where you can live on $500 a month. The worst thing you can do is just ignore the reality and just pray it works. Pray it works. For me, I'm 57. I've spent the last few years rebuilding my life from nothing, rebuilding my health, my money, creating a plan for when I retire. It's not because I have all the answers, but because I stopped pretending that tomorrow is gonna fix today's problems. It's not gonna. Here's the good news. You don't need millions of dollars to retire, to build a better life. You just don't. But you do need a plan. What does retirement look like for you? Work until you die? Let me know in the comments. I hope that's not what it means. For me, the plan is to move to Pereira, Colombia, where I can live on $500 a month, including my wife, healthcare, food, rent, everything. It's a much different life than staying here praying that our $2,000 a month Social Security is going to stretch long enough for us to live on. Even if I waited until I was 70 and my Social Security is $3,000 a month, My bills right now are $4,000 a month. And it ain't gonna get any cheaper. So we made a plan. The plan is to stay here until I'm getting ready to retire, live on Social Security, where I will have 2 or 3 times as much money as I need to pay my bills. Because staying here, the math ain't mathin'. Appreciate y'all watching. I'm an accountability coach. I help people start over. If you think you'd like to have some information about starting over or somebody helping you.
I'm tired. Are y'all tired? Because I'm tired of the system that America has created to keep us going, buying. And it's never enough at work. It's like, do this so you can get this rating. It's never enough. You go out here and try to date, try to be a good person in the world. People don't appreciate that. It's never enough. Bills come back to back. You just paid them, they're coming again. It's never enough. Like, I am so fed up with this system that America has just locked us in, that we are not experiencing life. Like, it's so much life out there, so much going on that we have not experienced because we live here. And I'm tired of feeling like this. Like, I want to get up every day, enjoy the day for me, do whatever I please, and enjoy the day. And it's just like, it'll never happen. I get 2 days out of the week to have for myself. Like, I'm tired.
How do we live in a country where people work their whole lives and then can't afford health care? I just paid a patient's Medicare deductible. I'm not telling you that to brag, and I'm not telling you that because I'm a saint, because I'm definitely not. I'm telling you that because we live in a country where people can work their entire lives and retire and then have to choose between buying groceries and paying for their health care. There was absolutely no reason for me to be in that office. I'd already been in that office once, but I somehow forgot to drop off the orders I was in there to drop off. And so as I made my way back downstairs, I stopped in and there was a couple standing at the window, and the lady told them it was going to be $154, and the lady looked at her husband and she's like, "We don't have that." And the lady was like, "I'm so sorry, we can't see you. We'll have to reschedule." And I slipped around the corner and I was like, "Do not do that to them. Don't do that. I'll pay it. Don't tell them, but I'll go to my car and I'll come pay you." And so I went back up there. It was going to be 3 weeks before they could see a surgical patient again.
We are living in a retirement nightmare right now with so many people facing homelessness. You know, when I grew up, seeing your parents, and then for me working decades, you think retirement is a time of peace and quiet. You're rewarded for all your hard work. And for so many, it has become a complete nightmare. It's not like that anymore, unfortunately. There are so many people right now that are one rent, one medical bill, and one bad month of being homeless out on the streets. That's very sad. But that, unfortunately, is the reality that we are living in right now. I grew up believing that after working really hard for years, and everything would be fine. You know, you're putting into your 401k. You know, if you're fortunate enough to have a 401k, I worked for only one company that had a 401k, so I really didn't have a whole lot in a 401k. I was fortunate enough to have a pension, not a large one by any means, but I just saved for my retirement. That's what I had to do. So that's what we're thinking, that everything was great. You know, a lot of people get that when you retire, people are taking all these beautiful vacations and they're walking through the sand on a beach with their margaritas. For the most part, most people aren't doing that. Most people wish they could do that, but most people are not doing that. And so many people right now are having a hard time with the housing costs, the groceries, the insurance. We're being taxed to death. So you're going to see people that are not always going to tell you how bad they're struggling. I get it. They're proud. I get that. they're embarrassed as to where they're at in life. They're going to feel like they failed. They didn't do enough to prepare themselves. I didn't always do enough to prepare myself. But you're going to find people sleeping in cars. You're going to find people staying with other family members or going from place to place. Can you imagine being in your 60s and 70s and you're not sure if you're going to have a home to go home to next month? I can't imagine that. I am very blessed that I have a home, and maybe I bought at the right time. I don't know, but it's affordable. I feel thankful that I'm where I'm at, but I feel so bad for some of these people that are one rent away from losing everything. I get that. But I've never been in their shoes. So, but I don't want people to blame themselves because it's not your fault. The system isn't built to protect us in today's world. It's just not.
I have to work 40 hours a week just so I can have a place to live. 40 hours a week makes me $2,000 a month, and my rent is $1,660. So I work 40 hours a week so I can have a 2-bedroom apartment and an extra $300 a month. Like, it doesn't cover my phone, internet, food, you know? So not only do I not have any extra money, but just working makes me so exhausted that I don't have time either. Like, I get off work at 5:30, come home, and I'm just so tired. Anything that I need to do outside of work, I then just push off to like the weekend, and I'm like, I'm just too tired to do this after work. I'll wait until Saturday. So then I end up with so much to do on the weekend that ends up having to be split into 2 days. So I have to do stuff on both Saturday and Sunday. So then I don't get a day off. I don't get a day to relax. I don't get to decompress. So it is really like working 7 days a week.
I hate to be the guy to break the news to you, but there's no coming back from this. There's no coming back from this. We are at the point of no return. When the President of the United States sues his own government and has his own personal lawyer as the Attorney General, who then awards him $1.8 billion to pay for insurrectionist traitors on January 6th, to pay for their legal fees, there's no coming back. We are absolutely cooked. Stick a fork in us. We are done. Because 30-some-odd% of this country, maybe more, still love this man, would die for this man. And he just took $1.8 billion. There is no law, there is no statute, there is no standard, there is no procedure, there is no protocol, there is no court, there is no filing, there is no anything that is going to stop this. This is so blatant. So blatant. It is in your face every single day. This may be one of the worst, most blatant things he has possibly done in front of the American people as President of the United States.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's been extremely difficult to make the transition from saving money and accumulating to spending money in retirement. Conventional wisdom is that we need to do that, and we plan for it.
Thousands of U.S. retail stores shutter. Mass closures in 2026 include GameStop, Francesca's, Walgreens, Macy's shuttering thousands of stores due to profitability pressures and changing consumer behavior. Why is this happening? Rising costs, tariffs, reduced mall traffic, and a pivot towards digital sales. Consumer confidence has been down for 14 straight months, and so has consumer spending. Do you know that it is the top 10% wealthy people that are holding up the spending right now? We are actually in a K-shaped economy. This means up here, these are the rich people, and down here, the middle class and lower class are having it worse. Small business bankruptcy is skyrocketing. If you did not know, small business makes up 99.9% of all business. It's not large corporations. 6,864 small business bankruptcies filed in 2026, just as of today, June 27th. So far, we are already 30% of the entire year of 2025 for business bankruptcy. 113 with the war with Iran, which is hurting the U.S. economy, causing inflation, high gas prices, high diesel prices, $1 billion to $2 billion a day on something we're not getting back in the USA. We're not getting any infrastructure, any programs, any growth, nothing. Look for small business bankruptcy to continue throughout 2026. Keep in mind, small business is 99% of the U.S. economy, not corporations.
60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself.